Hi, my name is Anuska Taylor and welcome to this video. So today I'm going to talk about vocal fatigue, which really affects us all. But when does it become a problem? So if you find your voice tires easily and you're finding yourself having to work harder, sing or speak with the same intensity and volume, you may be experiencing vocal fatigue. Vocal fatigue is a common issue amongst all of us. Whether you just use your voice for everyday communication, whether you're a professional speaker, whether you're a professional singer or an amateur singer, it really does affect us all because we all use our voice in some way. But of course, the more demands you put on your voice, so if you're a teacher or a lecturer or you're a professional speaker or a singer that's doing lots of gigs, you're going to have a higher vocal load. So there's probably more chance that you're going to fatigue your voice. So muscles by definition tire on use. The vocal folds are also a muscle. So much like when you go to the gym and you start lifting weights, you probably feel like you've been lifting weights by the end of your gym session. So a certain element of fatigue is normal just because the muscles are working, and it's the same with our voice. But the level of that fatigue and that tiredness will of course depend on your training, on your technique, and your overall physical fitness. Now, vocal fatigue can be more than just muscular fatigue. Your vocal folds are actually covered in a mucosal lining, so much like the inside of your cheeks. And if this mucosal lining becomes dehydrated, the mucus will become thicker and you have to work harder to get your voice to work. So this ultimately results in vocal fatigue. So what symptoms should you look out for? I'm going to give you 5 things to start to pay attention to in your voice. So first of all, there's a change in voice quality. So maybe you notice your voice is becoming hoarse or raspy or even more breathy. Secondly, you could lose your voice completely. And I've certainly worked with people in the past who have high voice usage and would systematically lose their voice across the year. So that's quite common for people who have high vocal loads. Number 3, loss of vocal stamina and a sort of general weakness in the voice. You just feel like your voice is just feeling weak. Number 4, increased effort. So you feel like you have to put more effort in to speak or to sing. And finally, number 5, a throat discomfort or pain. So this is where becoming really intimate with your voice is so important, because you need to learn what's normal for you. And so what's normal for me might be different for you. And so we know that certain things affect the voice. And so you have to take it all into consideration. So for example, your age will affect your voice and what's happening, other changes going on in your voice. Hormones, we know, have a huge effect on the voice. Medications. If you're taking certain medications, it might affect the voice too. So just to sort of start to become aware of what is your normal and has something changed from that normal. And also think about, have you done anything differently in that period where you feel your voice has changed? Have you, for example, started suddenly doing public speaking and you're talking all day for like 5 days a week? Then that could be a big reason why your voice is suddenly fatiguing, particularly if you're not using your voice in a technically healthy way. So I'm just going to give you a few tips on how to alleviate some of this sort of muscular fatigue, and then I'll talk separately about the sort of mucosal fatigue, as we'll call it. So I'm going to give you 4 tips to alleviate muscular vocal fatigue. So first of all, warm up your voice. I do feel like a broken record when I say this, because I say this all the time. It doesn't matter who I'm talking to. Warm up your voice is going to make a huge difference to how your voice functions and how it lasts or doesn't last. Now, I've done a couple of videos on this, one for singers and one for speakers, so I'll put the links below. So please do look at those if you're not sure what to do about warming up your voice. Number 2, give yourself vocal breaks throughout the day, particularly if you have high voice usage. So if you're a teacher and you're talking from 8 o'clock in the morning till 3:30 and you're talking pretty loudly over loud voices and loud kids or teenagers, then you want to try and give yourself those little vocal naps. So if you can do something in your break and not speak, that would be very beneficial to your voice. If you work in a sort of corporate environment and you do a lot of presentations and meetings, you might want to try and break them up if possible and have a period of vocal rest. If you have lots of, I don't know, let's say you're pitching and you've got lots of presentations to give, you might just want to actually break them up and give yourself that vocal rest between. Another one that's really important, make sure you're speaking from the right pitch. If you're speaking too low, which is where a lot of people are, it's going to be making your voice tire so much more quickly. So I've also done videos on this. So if you're not sure and you don't know what to do, then I'll put some links below to those videos too. So finally, invest in voice training. And it might seem a bit self-serving of me to say this, but it really is so important. You have your voice with you for the rest of your life, hopefully. It comes with you everywhere you go. And just understanding how it works is going to help you get more from it. It's going to last and it's not going to tire anywhere near as easily or as quickly if you really understand your voice and can take care of it. We're also needing to learn with the voice how to engage the right muscles. So we're not recruiting the wrong muscles, which can also exacerbate the sort of vocal fatigue issue. So now we're going to look at mucosal vocal fatigue. And really here we're talking about hydration. Now this could be what you're actually drinking, or it could just be the air around you. So if you live somewhere where it's very cold and you always have the heating on everywhere you go, that's of course going to start to dry your voice out. So you're going to get that fatigue just from that dehydration. But also if you're not someone that drinks a lot of water, for example, I know we hear this all the time, but that little simple thing will make a huge difference to the functionality of your voice. So increase your intake of water. If you're not a big water drinker, maybe try and get it through foods that have a high water content. So things like cucumber and watermelon. Purchase a humidifier at home or in your office if you know that the air is really dry. It really is such a good investment to make. And it's just going to help your voice to kind of hydrate a little bit better. And finally, particularly if you're feeling a little bit run down, if you've got a bit of a sore throat, maybe your voice is just feeling a little bit more tired than normal, you can actually also use a steamer. And you don't need to go and buy an actual sort of proper steamer. You could literally just get a bowl and put some boiling water in there, and then just put your head over the bowl with a towel and just allow yourself to inhale that steam. It's so, so good for clearing out all the passages and hydrating the vocal folds. So finally, I just want to say, if you suspect that you have vocal fatigue, and not the sort of just, I've used my voice a little bit too much, but something that's a little bit more serious. So if it's lasting for more than 14 days, and you've got those symptoms that I described earlier, you really do need to go and see a doctor and go and get scoped, because you don't really know what's going on inside. The only way we know is to put a camera in and have a look. I've put the links below to the videos I've mentioned, and I hope that that's really helped you and it's given you a way to think about vocal fatigue. And I will see you on my next video.